Hi, welcome to the Corner of Knit and Tea. This is episode 480. My name is Laura. I'm also known as Fluffy Kira on Instagram, Twitter, Big Sky, Blue Sky. You can also find me over at thecornerofknitandtea.com, which is there where this episode and every episode's show notes will be. I have an Etsy shop called The Corner of Knit and Tea, where you can find my handspun yarns and knitting patterns. And there is a thread in the Ravelry group, also called The Corner of Knit and Tea, as well as Team CKT Spin It to Win It on Facebook, where we will be hosting Tour de Fleece festivities imminently. So hi, how are you? It is Monday, June 24th, and I feel like Office Space when I say this is the Mondayest Monday ever. I was away this weekend and I got back at about 7:30 last night, and all today I have been dragging. I went to St. Louis this weekend for the St. Louis Fountain Pen Show, which was really fun. I hadn't been to a fountain pen show or really any, well, I guess I could go to the knitting convention here in the spring, but I haven't really been traveling to shows since before the pandemic. And so this was my first pen show since the pandemic. I went with my friend Anna, who is also my knitting friend, and she worked a booth, and I kind of helped a little bit in the booth, but I wasn't officially going to work in the booth. And so I took some classes, and I met up with a knitting friend that I hadn't seen in almost, well, I don't know if it's been 15 years since we saw each other in person. It's at least been 10. And I just turned and she was standing next to me at the fountain pen show and we were both looking at pens, and I was like, whoa, and we went out to lunch. And so it was a really lovely weekend, but I came home. It was a long drive home. Okay, longest relative. St. Louis is about 4 hours from us, so I left about 3:30 yesterday and got home about 7:30, and it just felt like a long drive because it was the way home, and I was tired after the weekend, and I got home, and of course I hadn't done laundry or chores or anything, and it was like a rush right back into the beginning of the week. So yeah, so I have very little to show you in terms of actual productive crafting content because I did a little bit last week, but then I took off. I drove on Friday, I drove on Sunday, I did a tiny bit of knitting on Saturday that I'll show you, and then pretty much I haven't done anything else. So, but I had remembered that what I had said I was going to do was talk about Tour de Fleece and show you what I was spinning and what I had picked out for prizes. And so that is super easy. So I'm going to show you the tea. I'm going to show you the little bit that I knitted. I'm going to show you all the fibers, and then we're going to be done for today. So it should be kind of a quick one. Today, I probably should be drinking caffeine, but I just honestly needed something light and fruity today, and so I brewed up a pitcher of hibiscus sangria iced tea. This is from the Republic of Tea, and these tea bags make approximately a quart pitcher, and there are 8 of them in here, so I made a quart pitcher, and I am drinking it in my Llama Love. This is a great tea. It's definitely fruity flavored. Hibiscus gives it the red color. I added just a little bit of sugar. I could also, this evening, add liquor if I want to, but I probably won't because I'm already tired enough that would probably just make me more tired. I actually did not drink that much this weekend. It was just a long weekend. We got up early. We went all day. We stood on our feet. You know, it was a good, fun weekend, and I need a weekend to recover from my weekend. So let's talk about the one thing that I made some progress on. Technically, I have a few other things I made progress on, but I'm just going to talk about the one this week, and I'll catch up next week on some of the other things that are going on. So I took my sweater with me and I finished the body. That means I have a tower of leaning fiber here, so it's just going to be crazy podcasting day. I finished the body on my sweater. So I am knitting the Weekday Tee, and it is by Amy Scher, or it might be the Weekday Sweater. I can't remember. It is a knit tee, and I am knitting it out of Threadhead. Let me think about this. I've talked about this so many weekends. Threadhead. It is a merino and bamboo, and I can't remember what that name is. It's an oversized skein. It's almost 1,200 yards, and it's a 65% superwash merino, 35% bamboo in kind of a water lilies colorway. And as you can see, I have gone through quite a bit of the cake. Like I said, it's 1,200 yards. It should be, oh, my stitch marker progress keeper is on here because I actually pulled it off briefly. So I have a little bit left. I have plenty left to finish. What I have is some short sleeve treatments and then the collar. This is a top-down raglan tee, or a top-down tee with raglan shaping, and it's got a little bit of detail kind of where you're making the raglan increases at the four corners, but otherwise it is just a plain tee. So I have showed you this multiple times before, but I will show you again. This is what I have got, and just so you can see, I did finish the body. The body finishes with, oh, I'm not sure, I clipped it off. The body finishes with some ribbing. So this is my tee. Like I said, I have raglan shaping. I need to weave in these ends here. And I only have a few ends because it was all in one cake of yarn, so that's lovely. So this is the raglan tee and the shaping, and you've got a little bit of lace here at the corners. It will just need a good blocking so it shows. I've got maybe an inch or so, a couple inches on the sleeves. I think it's just a very short sleeve treatment and then ribbing like on the bottom. So I need to do that, and then there is also a picked up and shaped collar. There's a little bit of shaping in the collar into the ribbing, so it's not just a straight 2x2 as at the bottom, but then this will be done. So this is definitely going to be done this week in June. I'm very excited. So that is what I'm going to work on in the next several nights, and hopefully maybe if I even finished it in the next couple nights, I can wash it and block it and either wear it or show it to you worn at the next podcast. That would be super exciting. What I'm going to pick up next after this, I haven't decided, but I have decided that it will be a work in progress. I have a blanket in progress, and I have some socks in progress, and I also have a tank top in progress. So I'm going to pick up one of those and work on that for a while. Maybe I'll pick up two of those, because I think what I'm going to try and do is pick up the blanket, and then I'll pick up one of the other whips to kind of work on and finish, because the socks I should be able to finish within a couple weeks, and actually the tank top probably as well. And the blanket is a longer term project. I had hoped to finish it in October, but if I have to give myself until Christmas because of my wrist, I'm totally going to do that. And I don't know that I'll be able to just work on a blanket until it's finished, so I might pick up the two things, but I don't know. So this is my weekday tee, and I'm looking forward to wearing it, and we'll be excited to have it for July and August. I do want to finish that other tank top, although I have some concerns. I have reached a point where I need to like lay it out and measure it and make sure that my gauge is on and that I'm not off. So that is the concern that I need to resolve before I keep knitting on it. I do have another sweater or two that I would like to work on, and I would love to cast on another for this summer, but I just don't know how things are going to go this month, and I would love to finish one of my whips first. So maybe I'll pull out those socks and just finish those socks. I'm not very far in them. They're 2 at a time. But I feel like socks I ought to be able to crank out fairly easily within a week or two, and then I could pick up something new again. That would be fun. So maybe that'll be the plan. So that is the only knitting that I really have to show. And I knit a few inches on the body, and then the, I know I knit a few inches on the body, and then the last couple inches for the, I know that I knit all of the ribbing this past week. So my guess is I probably knit 4 inches on this last week. So that is why I don't have much else to show you. So let's talk about Tour de Fleece. I'm going to go over the real basics on Tour de Fleece. I have gone over this on other podcasts, but because it is starting on Saturday, I am going to go ahead and give you kind of the full brief, and then I'll talk about what I'm planning to spin and what I'm planning to give away as prizes. So every year since, gosh, I don't remember what year I started hosting a team, but it's been quite a few years. I host a team for Tour de Fleece. Tour de Fleece is the brainchild of David from Southern Cross Fiber and a group of other spinners on Ravelry, and this happened years ago. It was sort of meant to go along with the Tour de Fleece. So, with the Tour de France. So the idea is every summer in France, there is a 3-week bike race called the Tour de France. It is considered a, it is one of the most grueling events an athlete can do. It is a 3-week bike race through areas of France, including the Alps and the Pyrenees. It is lots of riding and climbing, and they ride, I want to say, like a couple thousand miles in those 21 days. I think they measure it in kilometers because it's a European event. But it is, it has been going on for, I believe, over 100 years now. Am I misspeaking? Maybe it's only 50. I cannot remember. But it has been going on forever now, and it is one of the big events, big summer events. So the spinners devised their own version of the event, whereby when the riders ride, the spinners spin. So spinners everywhere have chosen to take part in an event where they basically spin for the 21 days that the Tour de France is on. And so there are plenty of groups and challenges and things that you can do during the Tour de France and Tour de Fleece. The Tour de Fleece runs the exact same days as the Tour de France, so it starts on June 29th and finishes on July 20th. So technically, I guess technically they ride for 21 days. The event is 23 days because they actually have 2 rest days. So the idea is that you are spinning throughout the tour. On the challenging, hard days on the tour, there are always 2 of them every year. You are encouraged to take on a challenge or something that you find difficult. On the rest days, you are encouraged to rest. Not everyone does. I sometimes don't. And really, you are just encouraged to spin and have a good time. Teams have formed around dyers and podcasters and various groups, and the Corner of Knit and Tea has its own group. In general, I am very, very lax on rules because of the fact that I would like anyone who wants to be able to participate. So really, my only rule is 1, you spin. Unfortunately, I don't include knitting or other crafts in this particular along because it is a spin along. That is sort of how it started. The second one is that if you want to be eligible for prizes, you need to be a part of my group, or I don't want to say entourage because that sounds more grand than it is. My rule used to be that you had to be a member of the Ravelry group. However, I understand that Ravelry is not safe for everyone. We have a Ravelry group, we have a Facebook group. You can use the hashtag on Instagram. Basically, you need to in some way let me know that you are participating as part of the team to be eligible for prizes. You don't have to let me know if you don't want to let me know. If you just want to do your own thing, that's fine too. If you want to be eligible for prizes, you have to spin and you have to let me know that you are part of the team. To let me know that you are part of the team, you join the Ravelry group, you join the Facebook group, you email me, or you use our hashtag on Instagram, which is Team CKT TDF 2024, and I will add that to the show notes. That is, you just tag me in your photos if you're only participating on Instagram, and that way I know that you are participating in the team. The object of the tour is to make it whatever you want it to be. In past years, I have challenged myself to spin a sweater quantity or 2 pounds or whatever I wanted. This year, because I am still doing a little bit of rehab from my tendonitis, I am encouraging myself to spin for 15 minutes a day. If I only get 15 minutes a day, that is fine because I don't want to overtax my arm again. If I start spinning for 15 minutes and I'm having a good time and everything feels good, then I'm gonna keep going. So that is kind of my plan for this year's tour. You can spin using any implement. You can, so spindle, top whorl, bottom whorl, supported, charka, spinning wheel, basically anything you want, just spin, have a good time. Participation. I love participation. I think it's more fun when we all hang out together. Post photos, chat in the chat threads, either on Facebook or on Ravelry. Post photos and share your progress. Cheer other people's photos on. You can look for the hashtag on Instagram. You can comment on other people's photos. What I do is I try and encourage people to participate in whatever way they feel most comfortable. And then I look around and see who's participating, and I do some random number generator draws for prizes. There are prizes. I have a bunch of fiber in my stash and things that I have purchased specifically to give away as prizes that I would like to share with you. And so there will be a couple prizes each week and a grand prize at the end of the tour. Usually the way I do it is the prizes that I give each week will be distributed among all of the places. So I'll pick one from Ravelry, one from Facebook, one from Instagram, and alternate throughout those using a random number generator. I'm just going to throw it all into a spreadsheet, honestly, and then choose. Using the random number generator. And then the final thing that I do at the end, I call the grand prize draw. And in that, everyone gets 1 entry, anyone who participates on the team. And often, to make it fun, I ask you to post a photo of everything you spun during the tour. I usually do this the day or two after the tour finishes. And then I award a grand prize to 1 winner out of that group. So the more you participate, the more chances, the more you participate in chatting and sharing photos and cheering your teammates on, the more chances you have to win in the participation prizes. But the grand prize, everyone gets 1 entry and everyone is sort of on equal footing to win. That's how I've done it for the last several years. I hope that works for you because that is what works for me. I'm going to show you my plans for the tour. This year I have selected 3 braids and a bin of odds and ends, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that, and then I will show you the 4 braids I have pulled aside for prizes. They are not complete, but they are what I have so far. So the 3 braids I picked out are, I like to spin a lot of, I'm a member of the Hello Yarn Fiber Club, and I like to spin my Hello Yarn during the tour because she runs a team that I get to participate in. Oh, and that's the other thing I should say. You can participate in as many or as few teams as you want. I can't tell you the other team's rules. You'll have to follow those if you want to be eligible for prizes and participation. I will tell you in my thread, the only 2 rules are spin and identify yourself as part of the team at some point, somewhere, in some way. You can double, triple dip, like if you spin something from another Fibers Dye group and you want to also enter it in my group, that's fine too. As long as she doesn't mind that, that's fine. So, you know, follow everybody else's rules you have to, but in my group, I don't have any rules about you have to use a certain fiber or you can only submit it once or any of those kinds of things. I want everyone to participate and enjoy this summer activity. So I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. The first braid that I have chosen is Hello Yarn. It is boiled sugar candy. It is on a South American wool top, which is pretty soft, and it's purples and yellows, and I'm really digging this colorway right now, and that was from December 2023's club. The second fiber braid that I want to spin is, this is the May Fiber Club, so we just got this at the beginning of June. I believe everyone should have this by now as it's June 24th. If for some reason you do not have your May 2024 Fiber Club yet, do not look because I'm going to post it right now. Okay, this is Nymph, and this is on a 23 micron merino wool top, and it is absolutely luscious. It's super soft. I do have like a brief maybe about spinning these and applying these together, but I actually don't know if they're enough of the same colors. It was the purple that made me think about doing it, but I probably won't do a combo spin. I'll probably do them separately, and they will be in my shop. The other place that I bought fiber from, and I'll show you more because mostly I bought it for prizes, but I did buy myself 1 braid, is I bought a braid from Created by LCB, and because I bought it because it tickled my funny bone, it is called Candy Mountain. And I don't know, this is from like the early days of the internet, and I'm dating myself here, but somebody did these, like, they're not stop motion, they were like badly drawn cartoons, and it was Charlie the unicorn and a bunch of other animals, and all I remember is, let's go to Unicorn Mountain, let's go to Candy Mountain, Charlie, let's go to Candy Mountain. And this is a Candy Mountain braid. So I loved the colors. I loved the pink and the blue and the green, and then the darker colors, kind of neutrals. And this is on, let me see, it is on Targi, and it is 4 ounces. So this is the 3rd braid that I plan to spin for my, well, for my shop, but these are the things that I plan to spin for the tour. So I'm going to move those out of the way because I have lots and lots of fiber here, and I'm going to have to take a huge picture so that I am ready for the tour plans. The other thing that I decided to do is I have a huge bin of odds and ends, and so I'm grabbing something else that I will show you in just a moment, but let me grab a few things and I will show you what I am talking about. So I have gone to a whole bunch of Ply-Away and some other fiber events, and over the years I have amassed a bin of samples. And these are the samples. And so I have little bits and bobs of all kinds of fibers, all different colors. I have neutrals. I have little bits left over of if I had a braid and I lost a little piece of the braid and forgot to spin it and found it later. And that doesn't happen super often, but it does happen occasionally. That I end up with little bits and bobs left over, but more often I have just all kinds of little things, samples from dyers to show me what kinds of fibers they have. Anyway, I don't really know what to do with all these samples, and honestly I don't use these little bits and bobs that much. I also have some locks here, so I could try core spinning with some locks. What I do like to do is I do like to take these things and kind of just spin them end to end and see what fibers I like, and then ply them up into random crazy yarn that then I can use to knit stuffed animals or other things where I don't need to have one color of yarn. I also have a bazillion, and I think I've showed you this before, I have a bunch of little bits left over. This is what happens when I ply skeins and I don't have quite even amounts on the bobbins. And so I have just a little bit left of something from the bobbin. And sometimes I'll just put these two things together and kind of ply them on themselves. But actually what I thought is that these little bits and bobs would be great to add to those as I spin and ply. And I would love to empty that bin out of all of those little bits and bobs and have a skein of yarn that I can use for something. So I think that might be kind of my final goal, is to maybe fix that up. I think I've brought that to spinning before, and I've never actually dug into it. And this year it might be my first spin. I mean, it's a little bit less exciting because it's not like a full braid that I can finish and use for some very specific project, but I think it would be really satisfying to have this whole bin like devoid of all these bits and bobs of fiber, and just to be able to like pull out a crazy rainbow skein that I could use for something. So I think that's what I'm going to do as maybe my first project. And that all together, 3 braids is 3/4 of a pound. And then I probably have, I would guess, between a 1/4 of a pound and 1/2 pound here in samples and other things. So that's kind of my plan for that. So, and if I manage to get through more, then I'll pick more off my shelves. It's not like I have, it's not like I don't have enough fiber and yarn to keep me occupied. So let me go through and I will share just a few of the things that I have either purchased or selected as prizes this year. And like I said, this is not exhaustive. This is just the first few things. So the first thing that I have selected is a fiber called Odd Moments. It was the April 2024 Fiber Club, and it is on Falkland wool top. And these are still going to be in the bag, so I apologize for the crinkling, but I don't want to take them out and braid them up or do anything with them that the winners might not want. So I'm leaving them kind of pristine. But this has got yellows and blues and purples, and it just looks like a fun braid. Falkland is a great fiber for beginners. It is kind of a medium staple, very smooth and silky, easy to draft, easy to spin. So I think that will be a great prize for someone in the group. The second Hello yarn that I picked out of my collection is We've Got Ghosts, and this is the October 2023 Fiber Club, and this one is all kind of yellows and neutrals, and I thought that was kind of interesting. It's not entirely my wheelhouse, but I know that everybody likes different colors, so I thought this might be interesting, and it's a super fun merino wool top, so it could be socks, or it could be just about anything, and that's kind of fun, just soft yellows and browns. And then I did go, like I said, to Created by LCB, and I placed an order for a bunch of stuff, knowing that I would give some of it away for prizes. This brightly colored braid is called Lisa Frank, so I don't know if you remember all of Lisa Frank's unicorns and trapper keepers and folders in the 1980s, if you were a 1980s kid like I am, but this is dyed on Tarhi. It's 23 microns, so it's very soft, and it is 4 ounces in these bright colorways from Created by LCB. I'm looking at the card here, so that will be attached to your braid. It will have all the information relevant to what your braid is, and that's the braid. And then the second one is a little bit moodier. This one is called Thistle, and this is also Tarhi, and it is greens and purples and blacks, and it just all spun up. It reminded me of like thistle plants on the moor, and I was very romantic in this, and I guess the card got bent in here, but this is another one of her cards, and it's got all the details on the back. So that is what I've got going on. My guess is that the next couple weeks are going to be very spinning centered. I have other crafts that I would like to do. I have an embroidery I would like to finish. Obviously, I would definitely like to knock out that pair of socks in the next couple weeks. And I do have another quilt to sandwich the backing and the top together with some batting in between and quilt that. So I do have definitely some projects I would like to do in the next month, and I hope to share with you. But of course, I use July as my it's time to spin. So I'm very, very excited that it's here. It's time for Tour de Fleece. So I hope that you have a good week ahead. I hope that if you are not a spinner, I haven't bored you with the spinning content. There will be kind of a lot of that over the next month. But if you like hand spun yarns, I usually add quite a few to my shop during this time of year. So that will be at least one positive for you. I hope that you have a wonderful week ahead, and I will talk to you again next Monday. And I say, as I always do, happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye.